In a revelation that sparked nationwide fury, it's been confirmed that over £600,000 in taxpayer-funded legal aid was handed out to members of one of the most notorious grooming gangs in Rotherham. That's right, more than £500,000 spent on men convicted of the systematic abuse and of vulnerable girls. And now, with Labour quietly scaling back its commitment to a full inquiry, people are asking, who exactly is our government protecting? Let's break it down. But first, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more. Just a quick one to say we have new Labour t-shirts available on our website. You can check the link in the description or go to britishstand.com. Let's go back to 2018. 7 men were convicted for their role in the horrific abuse of 5 girls in Rotherham between 1998 and 2005. These weren't isolated incidents. This was organised, predatory and brutal. The total sentence handed down, a staggering 101 years behind bars. At the centre of this was ringleader Mohammed Imran Ali Akhtar, who received 23 years in prison. But here's the kicker, he alone received nearly £144,000 in legal aid, and that doesn't even include additional funding for his trial over yet another case, where he was accused of sexually assaulting a 13-year-old girl. The others didn't fare much better in terms of legal funding. 5 more defendants, each jailed for between 10 and 20 years, received legal aid ranging from £99,000 to just over £90,000. All but one were found guilty of rape, and one man even had the audacity to fall asleep in court as victim impact statements were being read, statements detailing the shattered lives of the girls they targeted. So, while the victims of these vile crimes try to rebuild their lives, often with little to no support, you, the taxpayer, have unknowingly been paying to protect the rights of the predators. And now, to make matters worse, the political establishment seems to be backtracking. Labour originally promised a robust, independent inquiry into grooming gang scandals. 5 of them, in fact. They even allocated £5 million for it. But that commitment has since been watered down. Instead of full inquiries, the money will now be dispersed to vague local projects and victim panels. Critics say this is nothing short of a betrayal, and some, including former Equalities Commission Chief Sir Trevor Phillips, haven't held back, calling the government's handling of this issue utterly shameful. Meanwhile, others are beginning to question if this softening of approach has more to do with political optics, namely avoiding controversy in communities where the offenders came from and appeasing certain voter blocs. Kim Harrison, president of the Association of Personal Injury Lawyers, summed up what many are thinking. The government has effectively dumped the recommendations on its too hard pile, brushing away victims and survivors as an inconvenience. The Home Office, on the other hand, insists this isn't a retreat. A spokesperson claimed that the flexible approach will allow them to support more inquiries than originally planned. But critics aren't buying it. A flexible approach often means no accountability, no transparency, and no real justice. As for the legal aid agency, they've defended the massive payouts, arguing that the funding goes to legal representatives, not the criminals directly. Their rationale? To ensure access to justice and fair trials. But when that access appears to favour convicted over victims of child abuse, something is clearly broken. This entire situation raises a burning question. When did the scales of justice start tipping away from the victims and towards those who destroyed their lives? While officials squabble over phrasing and budgets, the victims of grooming gangs continue to live with trauma, shame, and silence. And once again, it's not just the crimes that haunt them, but a system that seems more concerned with legal optics than moral responsibility. When will that change? In other news, the Trump administration has excluded smartphones and other popular electronics from its new tariffs. The move is seen as a major win for big tech and comes as the White House tries to calm global markets amid growing trade tensions. The exemption removes around 20 tech products from Trump's 125% China tariff and 10% global tariff, narrowing the scope of the trade levies. It's a major boost for big tech, and the first sign Trump may be softening his stance on China. A notice from US Customs and Border Protection confirmed the carve-out, which comes as the White House tries to steady global markets during its widening trade war. Items on the list include smartphones, computers, semiconductor-based transducers, solid-state storage devices, and flat-panel displays. Routers and chip-making equipment are also exempt from the reciprocal tariffs. Exemptions, backdated to April 5th, also include other electronic devices and components, including semiconductors, solar cells, and memory cards. Dan Ives, who is the global head of technology research at Wedbush Securities, posted on X, "This is the dream scenario for tech investors. Smartphones, chips being excluded is a game-changer scenario when it comes to China tariffs. Big tech firms such as Apple, Nvidia, Microsoft, and the broader tech industry can breathe a huge sigh of relief this weekend," he added. The Trump administration had already excluded some sectors, like semiconductors and pharmaceuticals, from its new tariffs, but the US president has suggested these areas could still be targeted later. A White House official said on Saturday that a separate investigation into chip imports is coming and could lead to new tariffs soon. The temporary exemption is seen as a win for major tech firms like Apple, Nvidia, and Microsoft. Apple in particular has taken a hit since the tariffs were announced on April 2nd, losing nearly £700 billion in market value within days. Analysts say about 80% of its iPhones are still made in China, mostly at a Foxconn-run factory in Zhengzhou. While workers at the plant said operations were still running normally, many told the Financial Times they were worried about the impact of the trade war. In February, Apple pledged to invest $500 billion in the US over the next 4 years. But the company declined to comment on the recent tariff exemptions. Chad Bown, a senior fellow at the Peterson Institute for International Economics, said the latest carve-outs echoed Trump's earlier trade war tactics. "We'll have to wait and see if the exemptions this time around also stick, or if the president once again reverses course sometime in the not-too-distant future," he said. Trump himself has hinted that more US firms could be excluded from the tariffs, but added that these decisions would be made instinctively. Despite the exemptions, the White House confirmed that the new rules will not affect the separate 20% tariffs aimed at Chinese imports linked to fentanyl production. White House spokesperson Caroline Leavitt said companies like Apple, TSMC, and Nvidia are hustling to onshore their manufacturing in the United States as soon as possible at the direction of the president. President Trump has made it clear America cannot rely on China to manufacture critical technology such as semiconductors, chips, smartphones, and laptops. Economists have warned that the tariffs could raise prices and hurt growth in both the US and global economies. What are your thoughts on what we discussed in today's video? Let me know down in the comment section below. If you've not yet already, make sure you do drop a like on this video and subscribe to the channel for more British content. Thank you, take care, goodbye.